few weeks ago, the National Commissioner of South African Police Service, General Fani Masemola, was charged by IDIC for violating the Public Funds Management Act. He appeared in court, then President Ramaphosa suspended him and appointed General Dean Payne as the acting National Commissioner. But it seems as if the president will have to appoint another acting police commissioner. Public Interest SA has lodged a criminal complaint with the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, Hawks, against acting National Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Puling Dimpian, alleging possible contraventions of the Public Finance Management Act, PFMA. The complaint centers on the controversial 360 million Rand Saps Medicare 24 Chwane contract. Although the contract was later canceled over procurement irregularities, about 48 million Rand had already been paid to the service provider. Public Interest SA argues that, as SAP's chief financial officer at the time, Dean Payne had statutory responsibility for financial management, internal controls, and risk oversight. The organization alleges there are reasonable grounds to investigate whether she failed to fulfill these duties despite being aware of concerns and an ongoing internal audit. The complaint relies on Dean Pune's sworn testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee and requests the Hawks to investigate potential breaches of several sections of the PFMA, obtain financial records, audit reports and system authorization logs, and determine whether criminal offenses were committed. Public Interest SA stressed that lodging complaint is not a finding of guilt, but a request for an independent investigation. It also questioned why Dimpian has not been charged, despite 16 other accused, including suspended National Commissioner General Fani Masemola and other senior SAPS officers already facing prosecution over the Medicare 24 contract. The organization said the complaint is aimed at ensuring accountability, protecting public funds, and upholding the rule of law, while urging the Hawks to investigate the matter without fear, favor, or prejudice. It added that further charges could be laid should additional evidence emerge.
What we are saying is that we are not alleging any guilt on Lieutenant General Dimpian's part, but what we are saying, she's got a lot to answer for. And just to be pointedly, I would refer you to the evidence she gave at the time when she was being questioned by Ms. Priscilla Diko in Parliament from the ad hoc committee, in which it was pointedly asked of her why the payment for the 8 million payment was made to Medicare 24 in circumstances where she tried to obfuscate and blame her juniors insofar as they being the people who prepared the payment. And she failed because in that regard, that department's the buck stops with her. She's an officer, an accounting officer, if I may use that word loosely, who had authorized the payment for which we now see National Commissioner Masemola being charged for. And yet, in this circumstance, we say, why wouldn't the CFO, as the person responsible for that function, the financial oversight and management within Saps, who has transgressed numerous sections of the PFMA, including 38, 44, 45, 80, and 86, in circumstances where most of them pertain precisely to her function, not even the accounting officer, which is General Masemola in this instance. And it is bizarre that she was never asked to come and account for that.
You approved, I'm assuming, because I can't find the documents, or maybe let me ask it like this. What is the delegation, what is the amount, the delegation that you have for approvals of payments? Who would have paid the money that was paid to Mr. Matlala's company? Who would have approved that?
As I indicated, we have a national policy that regulates the payment of suppliers in the department.
Were you the one who approved it?
No.
Who would have approved it?
The end user.
No, the payment. The end user gives you the certificates and says this issue is ready.
As I indicated, the system and the policy indicates which process starts where. My office's process is the final leg where we release money into the bank account. There are officials that are delegated to do that. It is not done by the CFO, but it is officials within my office.
So who would have released this particular payment? I mean, I'm sure you would have found out by now.
The section that deals with everything medical is headed by a major general and there's a brigadier. The final payments are released by the brigadier who is in that space that works in my office. Obviously, that function is in my office and the final payment is done in my office, but it's a brigadier who is within my office that is delegated to do these payments.
Okay, and 50 million you don't look at, it's too small money for the CFO to look at?
It was 48, we stopped
48.
other invoices.
Okay, 48 is below your delegations?
I do not do the actual payment.
Okay. Now, when this brigadier and the general received this request for a payment of 48 million, outside of the fact that the end user would have certified that they've received the service, and I'm asking you this, CFO, please don't think we're here to get you. We're not trying to get anybody. We're trying to understand what are the systemic and perhaps governance failures that exist in the system, right? So when they get this certification from the user, are there any probity checks? Is there any due diligence that's done in your office now, or do they just press the button and the money goes? Are you our last line of defense or a post box?
There would be those that will verify, will then, the segregation of duties will capture and then finally approve in this particular regard. As I indicated, Chair, there are sufficient safeguards within the system, within the policy. You would understand that procurement takes place across the country. So there are sufficient safeguards. And when you look at this graph on the determination test report, the investigator even went into that particular field and interviewed those brigadiers, and he came to a conclusion that in terms of the financial space, there are sufficient safeguards. This particular issue was an issue of an irregular contract that was issued in contravention with supply chain process.
CQ Public Interest SA released a statement explaining why they took this decision. Earlier today, Public Interest SA formally lodged a criminal complaint with the Director for Priority Crime Investigation, DPCI, requesting the investigation of Acting National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, Lieutenant General Puling Dimpian, for alleged contraventions of the Public Finance Management Act, PFMA. This is not a decision taken lightly. Public Interest SA is guided by a simple but fundamental constitutional principle. No person, irrespective of rank, office, or status, is above the law. At the outset, let me emphasize that today's action is not a finding of guilt. Public Interest SA has neither the mandate nor the authority to determine criminal liability. That responsibility rests exclusively with the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, and ultimately our courts. Our responsibility as a public interest organization committed to accountability, ethical governance, and the rule of law is to place credible evidence before the appropriate law enforcement authorities where we believe there are reasonable grounds to suspect that criminal offenses may have been committed. Background. Today's complaint arises from the Saps Medicare 24 Tshwane contract. Saps entered into an agreement valued at approximately 360 million rand for employee medical health services. Following investigations into procurement irregularities, the agreement was canceled. However, before its termination, approximately 48 million rand had already been paid to the service provider. The complaint is supported by documentary evidence, including Lieutenant General Dimpian's sworn testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee, a copy of which has been furnished to the DPCI as part of the evidentiary bundle accompanying our criminal complaint. In that sworn testimony, Lieutenant General Dimpian confirmed that, as SAP's chief financial officer, her responsibilities included oversight of financial management, internal controls, internal audit, risk management, audit committee matters, and combined assurance processes. She further confirmed that she became aware of concerns relating to the Medicare 24 Tshwane contract after the suspended Minister of Police Sensom Chinu had requested National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola, since placed on precautionary suspension, to conduct an internal audit and risk management review. During her appearance before the Parliamentary ad hoc committee investigating allegations by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Mkwanatsi, Lieutenant General Deempian testified that she was briefed by members of the review team while that audit was underway. Despite those circumstances, payments amounting to approximately 48 million rand were processed and effected before the review had been concluded. It is these facts that form the basis of the criminal complaint. The legal basis. The complaint requests the DPCI to investigate whether Lieutenant General Deempian, in her capacity as Chief Financial Officer at the relevant time, failed to discharge statutory obligations imposed by the Public Finance Management Act. Specifically, the complaint seeks investigation into potential contraventions of Sections 38, 44, 45, 81, and 86 of the PFMA. These provisions regulate financial management, delegated authority, internal controls, financial misconduct, and criminal liability. The complaint alleges that there are reasonable grounds to investigate whether statutory duties designed to safeguard public funds were not fulfilled, notwithstanding known procurement concerns and an ongoing internal audit process. The broader context to this complaint must also be understood within the broader context of the ongoing criminal proceedings arising from the Saps Medicare 24 contract. At present, 16 primary accused are standing trial in connection with the alleged irregular awarding of that contract. Those accused comprise 12 senior Saps officers, including General Masemola and 2 company directors.